Okay, I just want to kind of build off of what Larry said. I've had a conversation with Larry in Gideon's Army about that. I'm a prosecutor, and it breaks my heart a lot of times when I see defendants come to my courtroom and they look like younger versions of me, you know? And transparently, as a black man, that really irks me. So I want to bring it back to the youth for a moment. What type of policies would you push to provide resources to these kids? Because yes, we are seeing kids, 13, 14, 17. I have one right now, that it was a kid and committed a heinous crime. But the thing about it is, what type of policies would you and your administration push to try to curb this youth violence? Because again, Gideon's Army, what they're doing, they're in the schools trying to curb it, but that's on a local front. From a national front, what would you do?
Yeah.
Let me add policies and funding.
Yeah.
Because we need the money, so we can fight all the laws and policies and rules, so what money can we also think about as well?
Yes. I see all this connected. I mean, access to a world-class education. If you're that 4 or 5 year old who's already 10 months back in reading comprehension in kindergarten, your ability to pay attention or see a role for yourself in that classroom in first, second, third grade is really difficult. And you may not see a future for yourself in that school. You may be the child of a single parent who's working 2 or 3 jobs, who does not have the luxury to read to you before you go to bed because she's already on her second shift. So a minimum wage that's at $7.25 in so many other states is part of this issue. Food insecurity, we were just at Second Harvest Food Bank. They were telling me about the tens of millions of meals that they are short in providing just basic nutrition to children in this country. That's part of it. Not being able to see a mental health care provider, so even a social worker, a therapist, much less a psychologist or a psychiatrist, that is part of it. Investment into the dollars that you spoke about, athletics, after-school activities, a sense and a purpose and a place for you in your community. That's got to be part of it as well. The criminalization aspect, I don't want to leave that behind because I do think, especially in communities of color, the chance that one of your parents will have been criminally justice involved is many times higher than in the white community in America today. That changes the dynamic in your household and your ability to be literally with your parents and your family. Much of this is going to be driven by policy. Some of it, I mentioned the $23 billion in minority majority school district underfunding is going to be driven by investment, but none of this will be possible unless we follow the lead at the community and at the local level. So from economic inclusion to healthcare, to investment in our academics, to after school and athletic opportunities, I think all of those are changes that we can make. And then I do think the criminal justice system is such a foundational part of the challenge that we have right now. Having said that, what am I missing and what do you want to see, or what have you seen that's been successful that you would like me to include?
Well, I would like more funding for programs such as Gideon's Army, because when I met with them, one thing that they were lacking, that they told me, was a lack of resources. And it's one thing, I'll say this, it's a lack of infrastructure as well, because I can go and have a conversation with them as David Jones, the GA, but like, are they having a conversation with my colleagues, you know? Are they being promoted or presented in a way that they can have these conversations? I'm not threatened, but like, maybe some of my colleagues, and I don't, maybe I shouldn't say it like this, but what I would say is, sometimes it's hard for one to get a message across if they're convicted felon or whatnot, or Larry might not look like someone that one of my colleagues would normally have a conversation with. I don't know. I don't want to create attitudes or create the appearance that my colleagues are afraid, but what I'm saying is, I feel comfortable in this space. I felt comfortable. It's like I was talking to my brothers when I was, at Procon. So from you, if we can get some type of funding, some type of assurance that it's okay to support these local programs, I understand that, it's a local program, and yes, that money would have to come locally, but some type of national support, or some type of infrastructure so that we can push these programs to curb these youth from doing these things. I think a lot of times the youth do these things because of a bad influence, or they just don't know the consequences of their actions. It could be a multitude of things, but I just know that it's a problem to where, I think all of us are affected by it every day. And to that point, I live in 37207. Some of you all have been in my house and y'all know where I live. But what I would say is, a police officer drove by my house the other day, recognized me, and we were just talking. And I like and respect the police. I think it's important. I think they're important. But I don't want us to have the attitude as if we're criminalizing everyone just because. And while nothing was mentioned about race, I certainly kind of gathered that because of the neighborhood that I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want to be looked at as, oh, that's David, he's a DA, he's one of the good ones,